lovelies. Welcome back to the Guiding Chariot and welcome to another kind of in the now reading. This is going to be a wild one. I think this is going to be an activating one as well. So I'm glad you're here for it. We're going to start out, I'm going to share these cards. So these were actually I did them for my own personal poll this morning. And I can't get past that this is for all of us. So we're gonna start with these and then we're gonna, do what we do. So first one out, I'm gonna read them, so I'm gonna show them to you after. So this is Antakarana, Crossing the Rainbow Bridge, Resurrection, and Coming Full Circle. I hope you guys can see that. I can't see the camera screen. So I'm just gonna trust that this visual's in there. And then we also have Light Language, Rediscovery, Humble Wanderer, and Communication. Two amazingly beautiful energies, also two very well connected energies. And that's why I kind of opened with, I feel like this reading is going to be super activated. I am super floaty. I haven't eaten anything yet for the day, which is probably a mistake, which is probably part of why I feel super floaty. So definitely going to need to ground myself after this. But third eye chakra, especially crown chakra, super activated. Oh, I should make tea after this. That's happening. All right. Anyway, but that's a lot of what the first card, Antakarana, is all about. Crossing that rainbow bridge, right? Connecting to our higher consciousness, connecting our intellectual mind with spiritual consciousness, and that will take whatever form you resonate with. Especially when we start talking about light language. One thing that I will say I am no pro. I can't fully put it into words, at least I'm still working on what my definition of that would be. But with what I resonate to, and also kind of what's in this particular card's meaning. Light language is really about resonance, right? Because we're talking about frequencies, especially frequencies, but we're also speaking in energy. So for light language, especially when you start to apply this reading to your own path, your own experience, whatever situations you're feeling at the moment, it's really going to be about what is resonance. So for some of you, this might be music. Some of you, this might be sacred geometry. It could be coding, right? So this light language is going to be in resonance with your journey, your understanding, your perspectives. So please don't think you have to be like, this is light language. This is what I'm supposed to do. This is how I'm going to see these signs and receive these downloads. You need to take what's in resonance. That's going to be the big thing as we start this reading. Because whatever that is to you, that is what's going to help with this ascension process. That's what's going to essentially link the two sides of the bridge for you, right? Because again, I normally don't talk about my own personal cards because I don't think you come here to talk about me, but right now this might help somebody. So like for me, especially after kind of pulling these cards this morning and meditating on them a little bit, I've been kind of connecting with a lot of dolphin songs. I always kind of connect with water in the ocean. My big three are all water signs, so lots of water element on this side of the camera. It's part of the reason why I have a little bowl here. But I also do have some coded artwork that a very good friend of mine made for me, which has to do with a dolphin code. That particular piece of art the other day, had jumped off the wall. I came home and it wasn't where it's supposed to be, and then I found it somehow behind my television. Wild. Weird shit happens at my house all the time. But it's just so funny that I pull a code, or I find a code that, is trying to get my attention, and it has to do with dolphin language. And then I pull this card, and isn't there a dolphin? Yeah, see, there's a dolphin somewhere, which made me think of this. And just things that have been playing on my mind last night. So I'm filming this Saturday afternoon. It'll probably get posted tonight. But I'm filming this Saturday afternoon. Early this morning, I was having the craziest dreams. And if you know me personally, I don't dream very often. Well, let me take that back. I probably dream every single night. But when I go to sleep, it's literally like a full system shutdown. I usually don't remember anything, and I'm usually not even aware that I went to sleep. Like I literally like closed my eyes, everything shut down, and then I just opened them again. So like the passage of time between knocking out and waking up, like, is not even registered. Like I don't know where I go, where my consciousness goes, but it's not in my 3D body when I'm sleeping. So I'm rarely remembering or even conscious of whatever I did during dream time. This morning is one of those very rare moments where everything was super vivid, everything was super lucid, and it was wild. Like, I would say these were probably visuals and subjects that some of them I definitely have never like consciously dreamed before. So it was wild. So you might be experiencing a lot of that going on. We recently had a bunch of solar storms, which was messing with sleep. I believe, if I remember correctly, Uranus and Jupiter went into conjunction yesterday, which is great and exciting, changes a lot of stuff, especially when we talk about money and relationships, especially. But you might be having a whole bunch of things going on there. We have a bunch of portals that are going to be happening in April. So there's a lot of windows open for these downloads. I think this particular reading is going to resonate with a lot of you that see yourself as star children. I feel that's kind of who is really going to be activated, receiving a lot more messages, receiving a lot more downloads, and it's because of this link across the Rainbow Bridge and accessing light language. Sound is probably going to be a really big thing for a lot of us right now, whether it's certain, and this, take what's in resonance, can be anything. It might just be regular music and just the actual coding inside of the melodies and the beats and the rhythms. You could be listening to certain frequencies, solfeggio frequencies. You could be, and it doesn't even have to be music, you could be even using chimes and tuning forks, singing bowls, like any of that, can fall within this realm. But there's going to be a lot of activation through this light language. And now is just kind of that perfect window. I kind of want to use the description perfect storm, which is also kind of freaking me out because that was part of my dreams. In a good way, in a very good way. But when I say perfect storm, it's kind of like all these kind of external circumstances are all kind of happening at the same time that are kind of opening this perfect window for these downloads, for this channeling, for these messages to come through, for a collective, but also I think more importantly on a personal level, like really what's happening for your own spiritual development, your own path. So it's super, super exciting time. As we kind of start shuffling and getting these cards ready for us, I just want to say, make sure you are being super compassionate to your 3D self. I'm sure a lot of you have already heard about ascension flu and ascension symptoms, so I'm not going to go into that. Let me know in the comments if you want me to, but I feel like that's something a lot of people talk about, sometimes correctly, sometimes incorrectly, but again, who am I to say what's right or wrong? But you may be feeling a bunch of things in your 3D body that are probably going to come out of whack. Might just be random aches and pains, might be, sometimes I start to feel a little nauseous. Some people get headaches, like literally like you're getting sick. It's just the body, like the 3D trying to catch up with the energetic self, right? As the energetic self gets stronger, can handle more, can take in more of these downloads, the 3D body has to match that level of fitness. So just be compassionate with yourself. If you need to rest more than you normally would, rest. Don't punish yourself for it. Don't be like, okay, I really got to do that thing, so I can't take the time to take care of me right now. Like, I just got to keep pushing. This is not the time. This is not the time. Okay. Like, sometimes maybe that is the right thing to do. This does not feel like that time. So really listen to your body, but listen to your whole energetic self as well. Yeah. So 9 of Wands in reverse, first card up. Actually, here, let's put these lovelies on the side. 9 of Wands is a great card, especially in reverse, because it's a card of surrender, right? Upright, it can be defiant, but it's also kind of strong and grounded in what you believe in and what you think is right, and holding steadfast to that. This is a window of surrendering, right? It's time to lay down the wand, right? We don't need to defend this so hard. We don't need to hold this ground. And it doesn't mean that your beliefs are about to be shaken. Things might change like that, especially with Uranus involved. But this is a moment of surrendering and allowing. It's not giving up, right? Surrendering and giving up are two different things. I don't know who did not like the word surrender, because that came in real quick. Someone's like, you better say this. It also might be a nice kind of nod to any of you who have been feeling ascension symptoms, because this card, usually in depictions, again, I hope this image is in there. Usually this image in the upright, the figure usually is shown kind of worn out, kind of beaten up. Oh, I just realized I'm putting it right side towards me. Let me do it so you guys can see it. Because this person is tired. This person has been holding it down. This person has been defending the castle or holding up their beliefs all on their own for a very long time, and they are tired. The nine of wands speaks to, like, it's not time to give up just yet. Like, you're so close. You're at the 9, right? There's only one more to go. Like, I know it's hard. I know you're beaten up. I know it's been brutal. Now it's not the time to give up just yet. So this position of surrender is kind of saying, like, this isn't the battle you were preparing for. Now is your window to kind of like let it happen, right? This isn't the window where someone's coming for you. This is a moment of, I don't want to say it's a moment of peace, but this is a window where you can get some of that strength back. This is a window where something is coming in, but it's different than what you were originally fighting against. So you don't need to have the spirit, the ready at the moment. You also have the Knight of Swords popping up. This is a card of learning. I know some people talk about spying and watching and da-da-da-da. We're talking about you. So this is your card of learning. And to me, this connects back to that rainbow bridge we were talking about, because we're connecting the intellectual mind, which I spoke of earlier, and higher consciousness. So this is you learning from those downloads. This is you leveling up. I would also say for a lot of you, wow, we had to go flying. Hold on a minute. Thankfully, it's not that far. What we got? Yes, I was just about to talk about that. So 5 of Wands. But as I was saying, some of you, this is going to be something you've been seeking. This is going to be something you've been trying to figure out. Because to me, the Knight of Swords is always, it's a very hungry energy. Like, this person wants to learn. This knight wants to complete the quest. Super fast mover. Like, this person is committed solely to this endeavor, whatever this quest is for him. And with this 5 of Wands, there's been, I don't want to say a struggle because it's all internal, and I don't want to make it like we're fighting within ourselves. But the 5 of Wands is this component of kind of finding the balance, finding the even ground between all those different facets of ourselves, right? Because we have, our own internal self that no one ever gets to see, our social self with our friends, our professional self at work. We probably have a different version of ourselves that meets our family. We have a different version of ourselves that meets like random strangers on the street. How we engage is going to create a different facet of us, right? We talk about that in astrology when we talk about your rising sign, right? Whatever your ascendant is, that's the mask we wear, our first impression, the lens that we filter all of our interactions through. This particular card is talking about all those different persons, all those different versions of yourself. They all have different goals, they all have different needs, and it's about finding that balanced middle ground where everyone can compromise, where everyone's needs are getting met, right? There's a bit of give and take to that, and we're just, ooh, you're not taking these. That's too much. That's far too much. We will take these, yes. All right, you know what we're gonna do? This. Emperor and the World, love it. Before we talk about those, we're gonna finish this real quick. It's about finding that ground where all those kind of facets of yourself are being met. For some of you, maybe this, whatever is coming through in these downloads, I want to automatically say it's going to be your spiritual self, but that's not necessarily a given. Again, you have to take how it resonates. This is going to be a part of you that has been, I don't want to say missing, because it's not like it was never there, but that's the piece that you may be perceived as missing, thought was lacking, that you've been trying to put more energy into. And this isn't a read, and I don't mean this to be triggering, so, don't let it offend you, because I don't mean it that way. But this may be an area where you have been pursuing one way, and maybe that's not necessarily the right way, right? Like, you're still working towards the same goal, but it's almost kind of like, instead of feeding the beast this type of food, we're going to feed the beast this type of food to make it stronger. The same goal is being met, but it's changing the way you do it, right? The messages that you've been looking for aren't coming through the channel you were originally using. So we're opening you up so you can receive from a different space. And I think that's why surrendering is coming up the first way, because we have to be okay with that. We have to let that go, right? We expect our manifestations to come through this particular way. Sometimes they surprise us and come in through the side door. They come in through the back door. Hell, for some of us, maybe they drop through the ceiling. Like, who knows? Who knows? But this is part of this, and I keep coming back to Uranus, but this is the energy that's going to surprise you. But you're kind of energetically being prepared for it. You're being geared up to receive it. So be compassionate to your 3D self while it catches up to the 5D. Allow the 5D to be healed and restored in whatever way Spirit is working on you right now, because it's going to be different for each of us. Utilize that light language to get yourself into alignment of that frequency, because that's going to make you the best channel for these downloads possible, right? So just be high vibe, and not in that kind of toxic positivity where you just say everything's love and light no matter what you're feeling, right? You can be love and light and still be mad. You can be love and light and still be depressed, right? It's about doing what you need in that moment. And some of us, that means going somewhere by yourself and crying your eyes out. Some of us, that means screaming into our pillow at times. Like, so it's not about being all kumbaya all the time, because that's not healthy, because you're denying an aspect of yourself that needs to be felt. And for some of us, that might have to be doing with your divine masculine. And I don't mean your counterpart, I mean the divine masculine within you. I've been talking about this with some of my personal friends. So I have a lot of Cancer in my chart, not even just my big three. Like, I have Cancer kind of multiple places. There's, like I said, a lot of water in my chart. Mars, so ruler of the Emperor card, right? Mars is in Cancer, which can make people with a lot of Cancer placements a little more agitated, right? We have that extra fiery energy in us. It's going to be a little easier for us to pop off. But along with that, Mars is kind of in detriment in Cancer. It's not a place that feels comfortable, right? You have this warrior, fiery spirit in this like nurturing, caring kind, like Mars doesn't know what to do with that energy. So there's going to be a bit of it, and it's not that it's a bad thing, but that's just not where he shines brightest, right? So your masculine side, your masculine energy, is having to deal with energies he doesn't really like to deal with, right? They're not comfortable to him. They don't come second nature. So he's got to work a little bit harder to make sense of it all. So some of that, honestly, is going to be triggered for all of us, not just Cancers, not just water signs. Cardinal placements too, because we're dealing with that axis. So Cancer, Capricorn, Libra, and why am I like not even thinking of it? Oh, and Aries. Hello, duh. I told you I'm real floaty. I'm like 9 feet above myself right now. It's crazy. So you don't take it back. This energy is just going to make us have to deal with things in different ways, and be really aware of those trigger points. Like, be aware of what things kind of maybe get you a little heated right now. Be really aware of that. Sit with that. Why is it being heated? What do I want to do? Also, what should I do in this moment? Like, I probably want to go yell at somebody, but I know that's not the right thing. So how can I balance that, right? Because I bet you a lot of that is bringing up a lot of healing, or at least opportunities to heal. What you do with that is going to be up to you, right? So you can choose to heal it, or you can choose to let it go, and you're probably going to, probably unleash some Mars energy on somebody. So be careful about that. But this probably is linked to whatever guidance is coming through these downloads. That's coming through with, and I'm gonna take a little sidestep to talk about. So I talked about how I think this message is really going to be connected to our star seeds, our star children out there. This type of energy that you are navigating, some of it is probably going to be for you, whether it's this lifetime, past lifetimes. Some of it's going to be for you, which is great. It's wonderful healing for ourselves. It makes us more open and compassionate and understanding, especially since we're in the sign of Cancer. But I think a lot of this is also going to be collective energy, and not so much in the sense that you're transmuting for others, which you will be, but I think a lot of this is going to be about kind of being an example. Like, that's how you're seeding this energy right now. So maybe it doesn't seem like much to you, but to be faced with some type of confrontational situation or something that makes you feel tense and uncomfortable, and instead of meeting it with anger or meeting fear with pushback and resentment and rage, meeting it with love not only grounds that energy into the 3D, but also shows that to the people who witnessed this situation, right? So not only the people involved, could be some random person crossing the street who just happens to witness, someone bump into you and give you heat, and you kind of like, I don't want to say shrug it off, but meet them with compassion and diffuse that situation without making it a bigger thing. Just that little act could inspire someone not even related. So to me, this energy is, yes, the world is coming up because we're healing and ending some cycle, but I think it's really about inspiring the world, showing the divine masculine collective in all of us how to interact, right? You don't have to bring out the war spears every time, right? It isn't always about control. It isn't always about, following this like set of rules, right? Because the rules are going to be different for everyone. So you can't enforce your rules on somebody else and be mad that they didn't want to do it. They've got their own divine masculine. You're talking to another king and you're telling a king how to run his kingdom. Can't really do it. Now, yes, there's natural law, and you don't want to hurt anyone or anything like that. That's a completely different topic, though. This feels very collective based, but on an individual level, right? So I think before we get this last card out, I don't want it to feel like you're like going, oh, you gave us a stack, how did I know? Oh, and look at that bottom of the deck, Wheel of Fate. So things are definitely changing. Oh, what did we get? Yes. Fab. Love it all. Okay, we're gonna talk about it in a hot second. But before we move on to this kind of outcome, the little stack we have here, I don't want you thinking this about you going out and acting on every little thing that you observe. That's not really what it's about. You're going to be living your own life. You're going to be acting out for your own personal needs and your own personal situations. What I'm saying is those, what seem like little small things are going to have a massive ripple effect, right? You are going to be telegraphing and you are going to be communicating through the frequency you're carrying, through the energy you're carrying, through how you are interacting with the external world. That is going to touch a lot of people. And if you think about it, once, if you were standing in the middle of a situation and what you did inspired 3 people, and then those people inspired 3 people, so on and so forth, huge effect. That's where this ripple is coming from, okay? So we have 5 of Pentacles in reverse, the Sun in reverse, which is actually great. I'm gonna talk about why. 10 of Swords in reverse, which is super great. And then 2 of Cups in reverse. Okay, so normally, especially this card, I don't like to see in reverse, but this honestly I think is a good thing. What is happening here is whatever. I am not humaning right now. Oh my goodness, I need food. These 2 cards in particular, I'm super happy to see. Because in reverse, this is a lot of healing. This is about feeling supported. This is about feeling connected. This is about seeing a better way, seeing a better opportunity, and not having to go through things the way they were done. Because the way they were done sucked, right? The way it's been hasn't worked. Not for you, not for other people, it's not worked. But we are now beyond that. We're on the other side of that, and all of that old stuff is falling away. That old vision is falling away. right? We are feeling much different. We are feeling much stronger. And if you don't feel that way, trust me, it's coming. If you can kind of surrender that, um, and for some that's going to be surrendering healing. For some that's going to be surrendering programming. And it could be things from society, it could be generational things in your family, but we're kind of just letting go of those things that we feel doesn't work, we don't like, doesn't feel good. On some level, it's probably a little damaging to some of us. And again, take that in resonance. If you don't feel that way, don't even worry about it, let it go. You don't have to look for it. Either you'll know what that is or not, right? So don't start mining through everything trying to find a bad point if it wasn't there to begin with. But those types of feelings are falling away, only because now there's an awareness that things can be different. We don't have to do things that way anymore, especially with Pluto moving into Aquarius. That's going to shift on a massive scale, right? But that starts somewhere, and I think for a lot of us it's starting here and now, right? With the Sun and the Two of Cups coming up reverse. Sun in reverse I never worry about, right? Because some reversals get really dark, get really heavy. To me, the Sun in reverse, because the Sun is such a pure, powerful energy, even in reverse, doesn't change a dang thing. We're just starting to look at it in a different way, especially in this particular deck, because when this card is upside down, this energy is rising, right? She's floating up, right? Instead of coming down from the Sun to Earth, now she's flying, right? So to me, having this card in the reverse, again, is probably touching. You can see her looking up at this divine masculine. The Sun is all about solar energy, masculine energy. So to me, I think it's more a comment on how we're changing how this masculine energy is rising, right? It's rising up not only in strength and power, but it's rising up in understanding, right? Even to have the Sun depicted as a woman in this particular deck. I always laugh when I pick the decks I pick. And then once I do the reading, I'm like, oh, this is why you're here. Oh, okay, thank you for that. So to me, this particular card coming in reverse, it's not that bad things aren't coming, they're totally coming. But there's that slight shift in perspective, right? What is rising is going to be different. It's still great, it's still good. But I think on a massive scale, the perspective is going to shift in a great way. And I think a lot of that is going to bring, yes, counterparts. Let's kind of throw that out there. Of course, this is a card of counterparts. They're literally in the picture. But there's going to be a change in these connections in a great way. In a great way. I know having it in reverse may make it feel like there's going to be some tension. And honestly, with Venus and Uranus in the mix, that's kind of normal. That's kind of expected. It's not weird to see that card there. What I think is going to be really great here is that any of those kind of tense moments where under this particular aspect may cause to relationships breaking. And again, if it was meant to break, it's going to break. So that, again, that's nothing to feel bad about or feel any shame connected to. But I think in this particular moment we're in the particular presence we're in, this tension is going to take our relationships and stretch them a little bit. But I don't think it's going to necessarily break many of them. It's about stretching them and kind of building it stronger. We're rebuilding some of those foundations. For some, it might be the masculine that is kind of healing and opening his eyes. And when I say his, I'm just talking to the masculine. It's not about gender, so you can define yourself as sun, moon, masculine, feminine, where we're all a mix. But it might be about the masculine in the relationship kind of evolving and meeting the feminine. But I think it's more about the masculine within all of us, right? Because that affects how we treat ourselves, how we treat our partner, how we see the world, how we color our perspective. So to me, a lot of this kind of evolution, yes, is dealing with our masculine side, but it's how that masculine is interacting. For some of us, it could be within relationships. Some of us, it's going to be personal, like just within ourselves. But there's a big level up. I brought this deck out to see if I wanted to pull another one, and I think we might. I wasn't totally sure, and at first I didn't think so, but I think we're going to now. But this is a beautiful window for us, so expect lots of downloads. Oh my god, bottom of the deck, I didn't even shuffle it yet. all about magical alchemy. Love it. So be curious. And I don't want to like say this and sound all like, ha, 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 we're so cool, we're so much better, because it's not. But it is kind of like, I kind of feel like this moment, for the people who resonate with this reading, the people who like kind of move forward after this and kind of recognize those little synchronicities and things, I do kind of feel like we're kind of like ahead of the curve, or ahead of the timeline a little bit. And I say that in a way, not to be like, haha, gold star, but I say that as in, it might feel a little strange. It might feel a little wonky, right? Because remember, right at the gate of this kind of outcome, we're dealing with this Five of Pentacles, which is a very outcasty energy. And yes, that's going away. But for some of you, especially depending on, you know, your surroundings, your current friend circle, your current work environment, all those kind of social moments, for some of you, you may feel like this is in the upright still. This may be where you're working at. But again, we're talking about star seeds and star children. You're meant to seed some of this light in the earth. So you might actually be in this situation so that you can do this, right? So be very aware of that. It might feel kind of like, ooh, at first, because you're the one starting it, right? You're the one spotlight in a bunch of cloudy things. So once you start it and start creating other points of light, it will get easier. But for you, you might be the first one, okay? So if it feels a little funky, it's okay. You're starting the alchemical process, okay? So don't get discouraged by that. Don't get too hard on yourself for that. We kind of started about surrendering and having some compassion, right? So when I talk about alchemy, for some of you, depending on your situation, you kind of might be the first. You might be the beginning of that for, you know, wherever you are located. And that's a beautiful thing, because think how strong those relationships are going to be once you start finding soul tribe there, right? Once some of these other awakenings happen around you, think how cool that's going to be. And then for those of you that already have soul family nearby and are blessed with those connections already, think how much stronger they're going to be, right? There might even be some kind of, I don't want to say hidden gifts and talents, but maybe some more latent ones that like help to be developed, that start to get, you know, brought into this particular timeline. That's going to be exciting too. I like that. Oh, almost. Do we take you? No, we don't. Okay, there we go. That's the one we wanted. And bottom of the deck, consciousness. Love it. What we get? Oh, literally, as I'm talking about bringing in freaking latent gifts and talents, past lives coming up. So for some of you, this might be past life healing, right? We talked about with this world card finally being the completion of cycles. So this might be stuff that you've been working on, you know, from another lifetime that now you're resolving, now you're healing, now you're, you know, letting go. You could be bringing in gifts, psychic or otherwise, from previous lifetimes, skills that might work with careers to bring you some more stability. Ooh. Some of you, this might even be regression, and not in a bad way, but it might be going back to revisit something that needs to be fixed. Might even be something you're not fully consciously aware of, which also isn't a bad thing. One thing I've learned on my spiritual journey, I feel like I've done stuff, didn't even know I did it. Don't know how I did it. Don't need to know how I did it. I just have to be there. And this might help someone, because this was something I struggled with a lot for a very long time, and kind of dealt with it privately because I was a little embarrassed to like bring it up, because I have a bunch of friends who I think are incredibly spiritually talented. I think they do some amazing shit that I am so like in awe by, and I'm kind of like, I used to be, I don't want to say intimidated, but I used to be like, wow, that must be what it feels like. And I would have pictures and feelings like of what those particular talents and gifts would feel like. And I didn't feel those things, therefore I must not be spiritually evolved. Not a thing. Not a thing. Do not make the mistake I did. But sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is just be there. And you'll feel called or be guided to do certain things, and you might just do them. And that's kind of the magic, right? You don't know why. I don't know why I needed to be here today, but I felt like going outside for a walk. I ended up walking to this particular spot. Nothing crazy eventful happened, and I came home. Who's to say that's not exactly what you were supposed to do? Who's to say that your vibration in that location, in that time, didn't make a difference, right? So again, that's kind of where that compassion comes from. Like, I think we all have this idea of what awakening feels like, about what, air quote magic feels like. And sometimes it is that, sometimes it's something else. And it's all very unique, right? Because you were seated for an individual purpose, and you also have talents that are suited to you. So comparison, not always the greatest thing. Doesn't mean you can't like share and talk about other things with other people and their experiences, because that's great. That's another way to learn. But you don't have to like use that as a grid or as a criteria to like mark yourself against, because it's kind of useless, right? Especially if we're going to start digging through some past life stuff, because who knows what you're going to uncover. Ooh, I'm excited. I'm super excited. If any of you do like past life regression therapy, this might be a little nod that that's a good path for you, or that, maybe your next session, you're going to have some super enlightening things. Or if you've been thinking of going through one, this might be a good nod that, now might be the time. You might have an opportunity coming to you, or you might honestly really benefit from looking into it. All right, we're going to close this out. Okay, well, that did not take long. Cool. Universe is like, yeah, go get you some food. Yes. Oh, babies, you're gonna like this. So first card out, abundance. When your heart's intention is to serve humanity, doors of abundance naturally open. Yes, baby. So we are in a moment of service. Some of these gifts, some of these talents might be coming through as things you can do for the collective. Like I said, part of your doing is just kind of going to be inspiring the collective. But the way for that to happen, the way for you to be comfortable while doing that, is going to be open. We also got creation. Being creative is a wonderful way of witnessing the unfolding of your limitless creative soul. Yes. And I will kind of apologize. It is kind of a gloomy day. There's not a whole bunch of natural light in here, so I hope you can see this. Who knows? I might watch this and this video will just be a thing. I don't know. We'll work on that. But abundance and creation. So not only are we creating abundance, but we're creating... Okay, I was going to define that. I shouldn't, because again, this is going to resonate differently for everyone. What you are bringing into creation, whether it is physical or not, right? Something to be aware of. Whatever you are birthing into this reality is going to create abundance, but not only for yourself. But a lot of that is surrendering and allowing it to come forth, right? And again, I'm going to tie back to what I said earlier about, things coming maybe through a channel we weren't expecting. We talked about these, possibly new gifts and new things coming in. So how we thought we were meant to operate might be shifting for some of us. So the talents and gifts you thought you were going to be using, you might end up be using some new ones. So just be open, be very flexible with that. Actually, yep, Ace of Pentacles, something new, but again, link into abundance. So whatever is coming to creation, for a lot of us, could be something that can eventually be made to like bring us some income, right? To return some, financial value back in. So, but it's definitely new. To me, aces, the most important thing with an ace, thank you for that. Most important thing with an ace is that it's new. It's a beginning, right? So whether it's a new beginning for you or a new beginning in work, career, how you connect, something external, it's going to be super exciting. All right, my lovelies, I'm going to wrap that up there. I love you guys so much. Aries, why? Sorry, totally sidetracked. Aries placements might be super special to pay attention. Whether you're an Aries sun, or maybe you just have Aries in your chart. I know we have the Emperor card here. I literally just saw a ram in the water. Straight up spider ram. So maybe maybe that's your animal spirit. You might have a connection to rams. I took it as Aries. So strong Aries placements, that might be something you want to pay attention to. So I told you Mars is in Cancer, so you might want to look where Cancer falls in your chart, but Aries for sure. That might be where a lot of this is unfolding for you. That might be where some of these gifts are unfolding for you. Also might just be another hit for the masculine, because now my right side is having a little activity. So, okay, thank you. Wow. That's interesting. Okay, well, maybe reflect on rams for a little bit. On that note, we done? We good? Can I go eat now? Thanks. I love you guys. I'd love it if you could let me know how this resonated down below. This was wild. This was a great kind of all over. Well, I shouldn't say it was all over. It was pretty focused, but energetically it felt all over. Like shit's coming in from left and right. It's wild. I'd love it if you could let me know how this resonated. Also, huge mahalo and thank you for everyone who was sharing their opinions. Kind of returning to this sphere has been something that I've been talking a lot with friends, and my connection to spirit has kind of shifted and evolved, and it's not done doing that by any means. So it's nice and reassuring to me, to hear how this is affecting you guys out there. So I really appreciate that. That is like genuinely, it has helped me through a bunch of different feelings. So thank you for that. I really do appreciate it. It's been amazing. So I'm sending you guys my love. Lots of healing coming your way, lots of insight. Be very gentle to your 3D self, because I think a lot of us, 5D is getting a really nice, big, healthy jump. 3D might need to catch up a little bit, so be really nice to yourself. And also, I would say make conscious choices, which means, like, for some of you, this might be rest. I think a lot of us, it's going to mean rest. But it also might mean like doing healthy levels of activity, making sure we're eating conscientiously, right? I mean, sometimes it doesn't mean you have to eat, nothing but kale for the next, 3 weeks, but it's just, given a choice between, a donut or maybe a nice piece of fruit, and if the fruit really feels in resonance, like you're like, you know what, an apple kind of does sound like the thing right now. Go for the apple. Like, it might be worth the extra energy to go get an apple than eat the bag of chips that's right next to you, even though you're hungry. But if you're kind of being pulled in a certain direction, I think it's going to be worth it to put in the extra energy because you deserve it, right? And it's serving a certain purpose for you in that moment. So I think self-love gets kind of tossed as this thing. It's like, oh, just be kind and gentle to yourself. Sometimes that kindness is about putting in some work. Sometimes that kindness is doing effort because you deserve it, because that's going to support your goals, because it's going to support a healthy mind and body so that you can do other things that you really enjoy. It's not, let me just put on a face mask and lie down for the next 3 weeks. Although it could be that, but you have to be aware of the intention, right? Oh, that was a little ranty. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to close that on a rant. I don't know where that came from. Anyway, love you guys. Sending you the best. And I will see you in the next reading. Bye, y'all.